What is up, guys? It is your girl Mindy, the Karmic DF from TikTok, and today we're going to talk about how to bounce back from a breakup, or if you're undecided and you think you should be leaving a relationship, we're going to cover that as well. So if this is something that's interesting to you, please give it a like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as always, let's get into it. I want to start off by making you understand why it's so hard to leave, because in essence, right, we spend a lot of time with our spouse and we learn about them, who they are, and we have all of these memories, and people are not inherently bad. And so when they either disrespect a boundary or something that is your, like, I've had enough type of situation, we have trouble and we gaslight ourselves because we remember all of the good, right? So like they did something nice for you, they were there for you if like someone passed away, like all of the good. We look at that and we look to that to make excuses for bad behavior. But in reality, this is what holds us back from getting into relationships that are better suited for us. Essentially, this is why learning to love yourself really matters, because as you begin to learn who you are, what you need, what you stand for, then it's a lot easier not to make excuses for bad behavior that we have made excuses for in the past. Because again, people are not inherently bad. And so we can easily gaslight ourselves into being like, well, they were there for us during this situation, and so I should stay. And then we see the potential, which is such a big one for us. We focus on the potential of who they are. But in reality, if there's something that they've done that you know you can't come back from, then you always tend to go to a route of defending by saying like, well, I've spent all of this time in the relationship, right? And I've seen what they do well when they're not being toxic. But we need to figure out where that line is between what we deserve and what is something that can be fixed with an apology and proper communication as well. Really important to be able to pull yourself away from the situation and get out of your emotions and try to go with logic and be basically like, what would you say to your best friend if they were in that situation, right? Because a lot of times we're really good at being, you know, a cheerleader for our friends and knowing what they deserve, but then we kind of shy away from what we deserve. We make excuses. We might have childhood trauma, this, that, and the third, and that holds us back from honoring the fact that we do deserve the best, and there may be things that we can't come back from. Even if you've already put in all that time. I hear time and time again, I've been with this person for years and such, I've already built a foundation. It does not matter. If this person in this current moment in time is no longer serving you, if it's causing you more harm than good, then we need to stop gaslighting ourselves and realize that maybe our paths just aren't meant to cross anymore. We also need to listen to our gut and not ignore it when it is telling us that this does not feel good. Because in a healthy relationship, there is always going to be healthy communication. You are going to be able to talk about your feelings, and someone who truly loves you is going to listen to you, try to understand, and show up for you in a way that you need. And sometimes, especially in the society that we live in today, we have a lot of people with a lot of trauma that aren't working on themselves. And so we wear these masks and then we project onto each other, and then we don't know left from right. And so we are afraid of finding ourselves. And so we cling on to these relationships because we don't believe that we can get better than that, or we think that we're being ungrateful, which is very common as well. Here's a quick example for you. I recently dated somebody who on paper looked real good, you know. They were there for me when I had a procedure, showed up with flowers, was really kind. I felt good around them, but something in my stomach was telling me that something was off. And I wanted to ignore it really badly because on paper he looked really good. He was doing and saying all of the right things, but something inside of me was saying, this is wrong and you need to pull your energy back. But because we're so used to not listening to our intuition, and we're so used to, you know, kind of like, I'm seeing Cinderella and I can't shake that feeling, but it's like we see the best in people to the detriment of our own happiness. So this person that I was seeing said they loved me within the first couple of times of hanging out. And because I'm someone who has their heart on their sleeve all the time and loves so freely, I didn't really fully catch that, even though my stomach kind of did. I was like, okay, well, you seem like a great person, and so I'm going to follow that. But in reality, I wasn't catching these small red flags because I didn't want to see them. And again, going back to the beginning, that doesn't mean that these people are inherently bad or good. And this is why we have trouble walking away from relationships. We see the good and we see the potential, so we're afraid to walk away because then what if we got it wrong? Or what if we never find better and then we're alone? We have to stop thinking that way, because the person that is meant to be with you, the person that is going to love you unconditionally and truly, that's unconditional love. And what we've been experiencing has been, more often than not, conditional love, and it's what we are used to, even generationally speaking, from our parents and their parents. And it is up to our generation to decide whether or not we want to change that. Long story short, that little gut intuition feeling was right, and I found out that he was hiding something behind my back, and it was a really hard thing to stomach. And I could have went, well, he did all these great things for me, and I could have gaslit myself and been like, well, I should make this work. But in reality, he crossed a no boundary zone, something that I could not personally come back from. And I see this with a lot of people, where you'll be in a relationship and they do something that you know is unforgivable, but because you've spent so much time in that relationship and you have some good memories, you try to power through that bad moment, and then the resentment comes, and then the turmoil comes, and then the constant fighting comes. But that is actually your body telling you you're afraid to be alone. And that is why self-love and learning to be alone with yourself is so important. Because when you have these relationships that fail you, these red flags that you've missed until it hits you in the face, you can then step aside and realize, oh, this is what I missed. And you're not going to project it onto yourself going, what's wrong with me? Why am I not enough? You're going to go, oh, well, all right, okay, I didn't notice that. Now I realize for the future that I'm not going to tolerate this. I'm going to put my foot down, and I'm never going to settle for this again. And energy is really, it's a frequency and it's a thing, and it works, guys, I'm telling you. But when you decide to not settle for less than what it is you're looking for, you are no longer going to attract the people that are going to push your boundaries and test your limits. What we really need to do is go within. We need to know what it is that we want. We need to know what our boundaries are and what we choose as our absolutely nots. You know, like there are certain things that we just can't come back from. And you need to know what those are, and we need to stick to our guns and realize that there will always be someone better suited for you if this relationship isn't working out. You are not destined to be alone if you decide that this relationship isn't benefiting you anymore. Do you honestly believe that you are meant to be half happy in love? Like, that's not how it's supposed to work. We are just so used to not feeling so good within ourselves, and because of that we make excuses, and then we end up miserable, and then we repeat these cycles over and over again. Have you ever noticed that we tend to date the same person but a different face? And listen, if you're a man watching this video, just switch the genders. I'm not trying to be, don't come at me for that. We need to remember to trust our gut, and we need to remember that potential is not enough for a relationship to work. We have to see who they are becoming and who they really are when the mask comes off, right? Because with time, they begin to show their true colors. And when you start to see those true colors, do you still align with that person, or are you engaged with the fantasy of it? The idea of what you thought they could be in your head when you were feeling all the love vibes, when it was still exciting and new? Are you now in a place where you're making excuses instead of realizing that, hey, this doesn't benefit me anymore. This hurts more than it makes me happy. Understand that it's going to be hard to choose yourself first. We're not used to doing that. But I promise you that the more you learn who you are, what you want and what you don't want, the less you are likely to attract these people. Because again, this world is full of lessons to be learned. And if you choose yourself, no matter what, and you heal from anything that's left over that you need to personally deal with, then you will align to better partners. When I didn't love myself at all, I attracted men that cheated on me, that did things that I don't want to get canceled for, that I'm not going to write on here or post on here. And then when I started to learn to love myself, I started to align with people that were more like me. And as I kept growing, I kept getting better and better versions of these relationships, but yet there was still lessons to be learned because I didn't fully love myself yet. And that is where we need to get at the end of all of this. Do you truly love yourself enough to say, hey, maybe I do love this person, but what they're doing is unforgivable, or it's something that I don't agree with to the point that I know we are not meant to be, but I need to be honest with myself and say that, yeah, I'm afraid of being alone, and that's okay, but I need to choose myself. I need to put me first because I deserve better than what it is that I'm currently settling for. So I hope this made sense. And remember, relationships aren't supposed to be hard. They're supposed to be something that you feel safe in. They're supposed to be something that, you know, you come home to, that makes you happy, that makes you feel, you know, they're not supposed to be, it's like yin and yang. They're not supposed to fill a void in you that you have. They're supposed to complement your life. They're supposed to add to it. So if something doesn't feel right, it's up to you to decide, do you want to keep going knowing that you don't feel good in this? Or do you want to take a chance on yourself, learn to be happy alone, and choose you until that right person comes? And the universe will totally provide that person so long as you decide that you are worthy of more than you've been settling for. I hope that made sense. I hope this helps. Let me know in the comments. And as always, I love you guys so much. Have a great day. Bye, guys.